What up guys, it's Hiro from Hiro's Hotrods. I don't bend like I used to. Today I'm here to show you how to install your Hiro's Hotrods 2nd Gen CRV passenger swivel seat. This is a pretty straightforward process. It does require a little bit of cutting. I'll show you the tools needed for the process. I'll show you the step-by-step installation, and we'll get you swiveling by the end of this video. Please note, this install is done on a 2002 CRV. Now, all you 2002 to 2004 guys, this is gonna be your process. All you 05 to 06 guys, disregard all center console mods as yours is attached to the driver's seat. These are the tools I used for this process. A 2.5 mil, a 4 mil, and a 5 mil Allen wrench, 8 mil, 10 mil, 12 mil, 13 mil, 14 mil, and 17 millimeter wrench or socket. I also use my impact, mine as well. A knife, a screwdriver, snips, a zip tie, something to get you to an 8 mil or 5/16 hole, a cutoff wheel, a flap wheel, and some safeties. Come on with me, let's do this. Step 1, when messing with the airbags, disconnect the negative battery terminal. We want to remove the seat next. Usually there's plastic covers over these bolts. Pop those babies off and remove the bolts using a 14 millimeter socket. Remove all the connectors and disconnect the wiring harness from the seat. Slide the seat forward and repeat the process on the rear 2 bolts. Next, we're going to pull the seat out. Remove the headrest, tilt the seat back forward, and pull that baby up on out. Now that we got the seat removed, our focus is going to be removing all of the stuff off the bottom of the sliders. We're going to start by removing the plastics. We're going to also remove the entire table here, removing the plastics and the mounting brackets. Essentially, we're going to just get down to bare sliders on the bottom of the seat. The bottom plastic is held on by 2 spring clips and will require a tug to remove it. Remove the Phillips screw in the corner and give this plastic the same tug as before. Whip out that 12 mil socket and remove the 3 nuts that hold the center console to the seat. Using the 10 mil wrench and the 4 mil Allen, remove the 2 nuts and the 6 bolts holding the sliders to the base. We're now ready to remove the seat from the bottom mount. Pick straight up and set the lower mount aside in case you ever decide you want to reverse this process. If you have the lower pull-out drawer, now is a good time to remove the bracket, as we unfortunately no longer can use this with the swivel. It's time to prep the sliders for the upper brackets. Place the brackets over the stud and pin the top with a bolt. Trace around the bottom curved corner as that's what's getting cut off. Repeat on the other side. Using a cutoff wheel, cut along the lines that you just marked and come back with a flap wheel to clean them up. This is a prime opportunity to put the brackets back on the sliders and make sure that you have the proper clearance. Give it a quick deburr, add some paint if you'd like, and the end result should be similar to this. And this. The hardware we're going to use for this step includes 4 M6 bolts, 4 washers, and 6 nylock nuts that were supplied in your kit. 2 factory bolts and 2 factory nuts that we removed earlier are also going to be used. It is important that the rear bolt used is the factory M6 10mm bolt paired with a nylock nut only. This is for clearance purposes. All other bolts will be M6 by 16mm with a washer and a nylock nut. And this is what I'm referring to. Closest to your cut edge needs to be the factory bolt with nut only. There's a small flange near the connectors that's gotta go. Carefully cut it out and shave it clean to ensure easy sliding. Trimming the plastic back on the rear corners helps open up some extra room when swiveling. I've got some funky measurements here, so listen up. 1.5 inches from the corner of the plastic up towards the backrest of the seat, and 1.5 inches from the end of the slider towards the front of the seat. It doesn't need to be exact, but anything helps. Mark it out with a little radius and cut them out. Clean up your edges and remove them forward. For those of you with a 5-speed manual transmission, you're going to want to trim the fronts of these plastics back a bit in order to allow the seat to pass by the shifter console with ease. This is roughly what they'll look like. Back on the center console, remove the 2 Phillips screws and pop the plastic off. Using your tool of choice, cut out the 2 mounting points and smooth them out flat. Using the bracket from your kit, mark out the 3 holes. Please note, the single hole in the back gets drilled above the pre-existing hole. I like to start with a pilot hole and work my way up to an 8mm or a 5/16 hole. Attach the clamp to the angled flange using the supplied M4 bolts, washers, and nuts. Starting with the 2 M8 16mm bolts, slide them through the holes we just drilled. Then comes the plate, followed by the washers and the nylock nuts. Before you tighten those down, slide the single M8 25mm bolt in the back and back it with the washer and the nut provided. Tighten everything down and we're moving on. I need to trim this piece up a bit. This portion is freestyle. Cut it up how you feel. This is just an example of what I did. Attach the plastic cover back on the side of the console and secure it in place. Now there's a chance you might run into some clearance issues with this little tab here. With this bolt, just put a little notch, you'll be fine. This is pretty close to the plastic here. It fully functions without messing with it, but I like to cut a little half moon here so that you can get your finger in there. And there you have it. Just a little extra finger clearance, basically between the 2 posts. Easy enough. Time to assemble the swivel. Your kit will include 1 swivel, 2 side brackets, 8 spacers, 8 M8 30mm bolts, 8 washers, and 8 serrated flange nuts. Start by inserting the bolt into the washer and then into the swivel. Under the swivel comes the spacer, followed by the bracket, and then the serrated flange nut. Repeat this process on all 4 corners until all bolts, washers, and nuts are used up, and the brackets are secured to the swivel unit. This whole process should remain finger tight until bolted into the chassis. Our next task is to attach the hook for the clamp. We're going to use the 2 M4 bolts, 2 washers, and 2 nuts for this. Your kit will have 2 pieces of acetyl resin that have beveled edges. Please note the orientation when installing. Slide the M10 button head bolt into the hook side of the plate, followed by the resin and the plastic spacer. A handful of machinist washers are included for you to use at your own discretion. Use these to set the appropriate gap and friction to take out and install your center console. You can skip ahead to see how this works, but please know, you may have to do this process a few times to get the right feeling for the center console. Add a washer and a 9-lock nut to the backside, snug it up, and test fit your center console. We want to make sure there's minimal movement, but still moves freely. Alright, our swivel's about ready to go in, but we got the wire harness sitting here in the carpet. We need to address this and scoot it over a little bit, so I'm going to show you how to get in there. We're going to remove this side plastic, but first we need to pop this cover off here. Grab a hold of it, pop straight up, and that'll come out. That now gives us the access we need under the carpet. We can pull it up. If you reach under there and give it a yank, you can break free the zip tie, at which point it gives us our clearance that we need. Another possible way would be to reach in this little hole and clip the zip tie, but ultimately we need that to be freed up right there. I can push half of that down, crease the corners, and that'll give us that room that we need for the bracket here. Snap the plastics back in place and get ready for the swivel. Bring in the swivel and the bottom brackets and install them using the factory bolts. At this point, we're ready to snug up those M8 bolts from earlier. Using a 13mm socket, tighten up all 8 bolts. And last we got the seat along with our upper brackets. Using the provided M10 bolts, split washers, and fender washers, attach the upper brackets to the swivel and a 17mm wrench to tighten. Once you got the seat installed, come back in, plug in all your wire harness connections. My OCD tells me to cut the clips off the harness. This is recommended but not necessary. Using a zip tie, fix the wire harness back to itself and keep it up out of the way. Alright, we've completed our install. Everything should be nice and tight, locked into place. Here's how we get this thing to swivel. First, you're going to reach under, release the little latch. Allow your center console to come up and out. With that, we want to slide the seat forward a bit, hit the lever down in front, and the seat will come right around. Now we got room to party. Don't forget to hook up that battery. Hey guys, we did it. We're at the end. I hope this video helped you with your swivel install and brought you some ease to the whole process. If you've got any questions about the product, hit me up, hiroshotrods@gmail.com. If you're looking to order your own kit, hit up the website, hiroshotrods.com. For all international orders, please hit me up via email first. I'd love to get you a swivel to your country. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.